Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I have a new makeup release for you. It's been a while since I've reviewed a new palette, but I could not resist getting the Colourpop Darth Vader palette. I just love Star Wars and I've been collecting them all. I even have the Mandalorian palette, which I never did a review on my channel for, but because by the time I got around to doing it, I thought, well, it's too late and nobody's going to care anyways. But this I just got in the mail yesterday from Colourpop. Their shipping takes absolutely forever. So I thought I would go ahead and do a review today for you guys. Here's what the inside looks like on the palette. And I have to say, it looks much better in person than in the pictures. I think it's just a nice dark grungy color story, and I am a Star Wars fan. I know there was a lot of criticisms on there not being an actually black shade in here, but the Empire shade looks like a pretty, like it's like charcoal. It's like a really deep gray. This dark side shade here is a matte black. It's not a matte black, but it is a black shade, which looks like it has maybe copper type of glitter in it. Would have been cool if it had like red glitter in it. But so far I'm liking what it looks like. I did hear that this one shade, Stormtrooper, is a super shock shadow. I wish they would have made that a white. It is more of like a champagne gold color. I wish it was a white color because Stormtroopers' outfits are white naturally. But I do think that the red in the middle is perfect for like the dark side lightsaber red. So I just hope the lighting is okay for you guys, because I turned on my light mirror that I have here in front of me, my Impressions Vanity one, because it is a rainy day today. It's supposed to rain all day, so it's gonna be dark and dreary all day long here. But so I tried to turn on my Impressions Vanity lighted mirror to kind of give some light onto my face, that way you can see. And I don't think you can see, but in the background I have some red lights on for the dark side. But let's go ahead and go into our look. I've already primed my eyes with my e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. I use the white shade just because that is the shade I have. And I think I'm going to go into my Rephr number 15. It is a little bit bigger blending brush. I'm just going to go into the shade I think Imperial Forces here, which is one of the lightest shades in the palette, and I'm going to stick that just in my crease. I think I'm going to do like a halo eye. When I seen this palette, I envisioned doing a halo eye with the red in the middle, like a lightsaber. So that is what I'm probably going to do today. This gray is pretty powdery. Lots of kickback in the pan. I'm not knocking it by any means though, because powdery shadows tend to be more pigmented. My Rephr number 14, which is just a smaller blending brush. And I'm going to go into the next shade that's next to it, Battle Station. So I'm going to take this shade Battle Station here and put it in my crease too, just more precisely in the crease. I'm really liking that. I'm going to go into my smaller Rephr brush, which is my number 13. And it is a more precise Rephr brush. It is just a little bit more precise. I think I'm going to go and I always use this for my outer corner. So I think what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go into the shade Empire, which is this shade right here. And I'm going to put it in my inner corner and my outer corner to like start deepening up a little bit for that halo eye that I want to do. And I think I'm just going to take like the tiniest. So I'm going to clean off the brush that I just used on my color switch here. just to get that shade off of it. So I'm going to go into the tiniest, just the tiniest little bit of this shade, Dark Side. And I'm going to use just a little bit of it on my inner corner and my outer corner. And I'm going to knock off the extra because I don't want it to be sparkles all over my face. And that is the perfect black. I don't care what anybody says. That is black. That is a really good black. That looks really good. So I'm going to go under my lash line, I think, with a little bit different shade. I was going to do what I have in my crease, but I think I'm going to go in my lower lash line with this shade Sith Lord. And then I might blend it out with one of the darker gray or the lighter gray shades that we have here. I just want to add like a pop of color on the lower lash line. This is definitely one of those deep dark looks. And I'm going to take my Sigma. This is the Sigma shader brush. It's the E55. It's a big shader brush. I'm going to go into the shade, I think, Imperial Forces. The shade Imperial Forces here, and then just take a little bit of it to blend it out and smoke out my red, this like maroon shade that I did under my lower lash line. And my left eye turned out more dramatic than my right eye, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna go in my glitter glue so I can place the red. That red shade, I am the master. That red is going in my center of my lid. So we're going to put some glitter glue down, and then we're going to put that red shade in the center. I'm going to do the same thing on my other eye. I do wish this was a brighter red. I'm going to clean off this brush now. And I think I'm going to go just over the edges of where I put the red at. With this shade Death Star, which is just like a dark shimmer. And I'm just doing that over the edges to blend it with the black. So I'm back. And I went ahead and did my inner corner with that one shade I was telling you about, Stormtrooper. But then I end up topping it off with my Colourpop Flexitarian, just because it wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be. Which makes me think they should have did a white Super Shock in that shade for Stormtrooper. But here is my complete look. I remembered my mascara this time, so good for me. And I just topped my lips with my Tower 28 lip gloss. This is in the shade Cashew. I just wanted a neutral lip since I have so much bold going on my eyes. And if you can see the red in my waterline, that is my Colourpop Cherry Pie eyeliner. It was absolutely the perfect waterline eyeliner for this look. It even makes my eyes look a little red or pink. So, you know, I'm looking full dark side mode here, and I'm loving it. But what do you guys think? Here is my completed look. I love that. I'm so glad that I stuck with wanting to do a halo eye for this look. So I think it looks really good as a halo eye. I'm going to zoom you back out now. Got you all zoomed out. I'm going to move my head. You can sort of, I think, see the red that I have going on there. But I love the look that I got out of this palette. Do I wish the red was a little bit more shimmery? This is almost like it's not like an ultra metallic red, you know? It could almost be a satin. This is more like, it's not that shimmery. Do I wish it was more shimmery? Yes. Yes, I absolutely do. I think even with this palette, I feel like I wish they would have included some Super Shocks in it and maybe made a red Super Shock. That way you could go over it and get like a red, you know, a red ultra glitter Super Shock. I love those. They just give so much shine and texture on your lids, and I love a more textured eye look these days. I like to be able to see a little bit of the sparkles. I do think it did a good job with the color story for Darth Vader. You get the black with the dark side. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, it has sparkles in it, but you can just tap your brush off, all the sparkles fall away. It is an amazing black shade. Like, it is super black, super pigmented. I loved it. They could have done maybe another red shade in here instead of having these two grays, or make one that was more of like a reddish gray, if you know what I mean, to go with the red shade. So if you wanted to do like an all red look, you could. I do like this maroon color, but it is a very, very cool toned maroon that when you blend it out, it's probably going to look more purple than maroon just because it's so cool. But I love that they included Super Shock. I just wish that this Stormtrooper Super Shock was a white. I feel like it should have been a white and like a really shiny one. This one, it did not come off that shiny. It reminds me of some of the Super Shock highlighters that they did in these little face palettes. I have this little face palette that I decluttered and haven't gave it away yet. But you have Super Shock highlight right here in this corner shade, and it's not very shiny. So it kind of reminds me of that formula of a Super Shock where it's not that bright and shiny. And I wish it would have been like a super bright white shade for the Stormtrooper. And I do wish that, or if they didn't want to do that, they should have included some. I feel like they could have at least included like 2 Super Shocks in this collection. One that was like a red ultra glitter Super Shock, and another one that was a white ultra glitter Super Shock, and called it Stormtrooper. And the other one could have been Dark Side or Red Saber or something like that. So this one does have some flaws to it. It is amazing quality, don't get me wrong. I had no problems with any of it. Everything is very pigmented in the palette. Everything blended out really easily for being really deep dark shades. I didn't have a hard time working with it at all. So it's still the amazing Colourpop quality. But as a Star Wars fan, yes, I'm a Star Wars fan. I've watched every single movie. I've seen the shows. I am a big Star Wars fan. Me and my husband are. As a Star Wars fan, I do think there's some flaws in this palette that they could have, I wish they would have done differently. But also as a Star Wars fan, I would buy it anyways just to have it in my collection and to complete my collection, because I already have the Baby Yoda palette. The child palette is what it's called. And I have the Mandalorian palette. So of course I'm going to get this to complete my collection. But I do think there's some flaws, some things I wish they would have done a little differently in the palette. But overall, I do really like the palette. The quality is the amazing Colourpop quality that they've been doing lately. So I definitely don't think you would, if you love the color story, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, if you love this color story, it is definitely a good palette to pick up. Because if you want those grungy tones, these are really good ones. Great formula. Very pigmented, blends good. Chef's Kiss Colourpop formula that they've been doing. So I'm going to go ahead and do like just a rundown of the rest of what's on my face. My primer is just the Juno Co. Moonshine Miracle Cream that I've been using because I'm trying to use it up. It's an older primer in my collection, so I'm just trying to get rid of it. And then it was topped off with my Glossier Future Dew. You guys know this is like my numero uno primer. I cannot go on. Foundations look like caca unless I have this primer on my skin. I don't know what it is. They just look dry and cakey on my skin, but whenever I use this primer, it just smooths over my face and makes me look flawless. This is, I cannot thank Tara Brooke enough here on YouTube for suggesting this as a primer, as a dry skin girl. It's the best. Like, none of my foundations, they all look good on me with this primer. Even this Colourpop one, which is the foundation I use today. I use my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. I don't really like this. I don't really care much for this. I like it when I use my Glossier Future Dew because it looks really good when I use my Glossier Future Dew. But if I don't use my Glossier Future Dew, this looks super dry on my skin and a little cakey, and it just does not look good. I don't know what's hydrating about it, but it looks really matte on me. I don't think this is a hydrating foundation at all. But you didn't come here for a foundation review. It's not my favorite. I would not repurchase the foundation, but I am going to use this up because it's my only Colourpop foundation. But that's the foundation I used. Wow, am I going on a tangent here? So my concealers are my usual e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I use this on my outer corner because I accidentally got a shade that was too deep. And then my e.l.f. Just the regular 16-hour Camo Concealer. This one is too light. So these together make like the perfect under eye brightening shade for me. And I'm trying to use both of these up because they are older in my collection. And I know they're close to being gone. They're so close to being gone. There's like that much left. So I'll be so excited when I get those emptied out from my collection. Anyways, I set my under eyes with this little teeny tiny e.l.f. under eye setting powder that I got, and it's almost gone too. I got this in a as like a freebie when I ordered from e.l.f. one time. This came as a free, I don't know if it was like a sample or whatever, but I really like it, and I'm gonna be sad when it's gone. It's almost gone too. I'll be sad when that's gone. I set the rest of my face with my Too Faced Peach Perfect powder. I really like this powder too. And I'm getting close to being done with, I'm about halfway done with it, but this is like a ginormous powder. It's one of my favorite setting powders. It's the first one I ever had, and it needs to be used up, so that's why I've been using it. My eyes, I already told you I primed with my e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. My bronzer, since I was doing my Colourpop video today, I did go on with a cream and a powder. So I started off with this Soul Body Face and Body Bronzing Balm, and I have the shade Light in it. This I just use as like a base. And it helps last longer if you use it. And then I topped it, the powder I set it with was my Colourpop Coconut Beach Pressed Powder Bronzer. This went with the coconut, when they did the coconut palette. This was the bronzers that came out with that collection. And I really love it. It's a really good bronzer for my skin tone. They do have one that's deeper too. And for the blush, I was thinking like, what blush should I do with this look? I just wanted a neutral blush. So I went into my Colourpop Mulan blush in the shade Matchmaker. Looks like this. It's just a more neutrally toned blush, and it worked perfect with this look. It's just more neutral. And the highlight, I don't know if you can see, but I have like a red highlighter on today, and that is my Kaleidos Mars Melter highlight. Looks like this. It is just a white, and it has like a flip of red. I love it. That's the highlight I use. This is Mars Melter. They're Space Age highlighters. I love these highlighters. They're really blinding, really good. And if you want a color highlight, this one I wanted just to go with the red on my eyes because it was the dark side look after all. And I already told you about my lip gloss and my eyeliner. My mascara is just my Tarte Man-Eater mascara. I've been loving that currently, so I've been using that all the time. My brows, I didn't tell you about my brows. My brows is my Oma the Oma by Sharon C, the one and done 2-in-1 brow styler pen. It has a pencil on one end, and then the other end has a brow gel. I'm not the biggest fan of the brow gel. It's a little goopy and gets a little everywhere, so I have to like wipe off the brush before I use it on my brows. But does your brow hair stay put? Yes. This does hold your brows really good. So if you're someone who wants a colored brow gel and one that holds your brows in place, this one does do a good job of doing it. I just have it in the shade 1, which I think is just a little bit too light of a shade for me, but I'm still gonna use it up. Anyways, that is it. That's everything I have on my face. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the look I did using the Colourpop Mandalorian palette, or the Colourpop Darth Vader palette. I loved it. I don't care what anybody says. I love it. As a Star Wars fan, I love the packaging. It is everything. Is it perfect? No. But no palette's gonna be perfect to what anybody thinks it should be. But I hope you guys enjoyed the look I did with this. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up down below. And if you're not yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And next to the subscribe button is the bell. You can ring that to be notified of all my future uploads. And I hope you guys are having a great day, night, weekend, or whenever it is you're watching this. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.